Hello and welcome to another episode of Moose's Gear Goo Review. I'm Moose, and today we have another knife review. And this one I'm super excited about, and I love it a lot already. And that is the Benchmade Casbah. Benchmade Casbah. So the knife itself might be pronounced Casbah, Casbah, Casbah. I don't know if you really pronounce the B. But that's the name of it. So super cool, push button automatic. We're gonna check this out. I'm gonna give it some specs, and we'll talk about the blade or the overall knife. So first off, the overall length is 7.8 inches. The blade length is 3.4 inches. The blade thickness is 0.11 or 0.11. The handle length is 4.4 inches long. The handle thickness is 0.59, so just over half an inch. And the overall weight of the knife is 3.43 ounces. Oh, feel that. Just awesome. I don't know what to say. I'm just pumped for this knife. Super excited. Just love the look, the feel, the materials. I can't say enough good things about this already. So this is Benchmade's Casbah. It's new for 2017. It is a push button auto. So a quick backstory on this. This knife design was actually intended for the H&K line, which was basically a more tactical line of knives under the Heckler and Koch branding, but Benchmade was the one who designed and manufactured the knives under that brand. But they discontinued that line of knives, and I originally was going to get that knife in the H&K. Now the H&K model is known as the H&K Patrol, and the only difference between the Patrol and the Casbah is some of the materials. So the H&K Patrol has same Grivory textured handles, and the blade steel is D2. And the difference with the Casbah is they changed the blade steel to a really nice S30V. But other than that, all the other materials are exactly the same. So basically, the only difference between the H&K model and the Casbah, besides the color, is S30V blade steel for the Benchmade, and then D2 for the H&K. So if you're interested in something with a D2 blade, quick try and pick that up before they're all gone. That being said, God, I guess the thing that first attracted me to this blade, before I even saw the colors, because I was looking at it for H&K, was just the overall design. It's very simple and sleek, but the blade shape was definitely something that caught my eye. I don't like too crazy of tactical blades and shapes, but when I saw this had a very almost woodsman type look, a very classic, simple look to it that I really liked. There's no serrations on this model, but you can get variations of serrations and coatings for this. So, but that being said, I like the fact that they had a full flat grind blade. So it's full flat grind. It's a plain edge blade, and it kind of has it's really close to a spear point tip, so it's really balanced, and the point comes straight through the center. But it's just enough on the upper half of the blade that you'd consider this a drop point, and they label it as a drop point. But that being said, it is satin finish blade. It has a little bit of a swedge here at the top, as you can see right there. Like I said, full flat grind. The other thing I really like about it is that it has a choil here at the bottom portion, and that's really good and really easy, really helpful when it comes to sharpening, because then you can sharpen the full length of the cutting surface and not worry about your sharpener running into the hilt or the edge material of the blade. Of course, we have the Benchmade logo, and on the back it says S30V. I think gives the Benchmade website. That being said, then moving to the handle. Now, the other thing that I was really pumped about was just the color. Now, not everybody's a fan of colored handles. A lot of people like to keep their knives simple, just black and silver or black and satin, whatever. But for whatever reason, I was really attracted to this blue color. Just something different. I don't own any other blue knives, so I was pretty pumped to get that. Now, the handle is made out of a Grivory. The texturing, it feels plasticky, but this section here actually feels almost as if it's an insert. It has a lot of good traction. Feels really similar to like a traction tape or a deck tape for a skateboard, or even similar to like the Track Tech inserts on some of Kershaw's higher end models. But even though that's that, it gives a really light feel to it. Some might say it feels cheap, but at the same time, it feels very sturdy and robust and solid. With the handle being a polymer, they're able to kind of mold really nice design features. So we got really good jimping along here in that first finger choil that really locks your finger into that guard. There's a couple other choils and champering all around the edge of the knife, so there's no sharp right angles, and it's actually pretty comfortable in hand. There's some large bumps or raised bumps at the front and the back of the handle to add grip, and then, like I said, this kind of roughed, abrasive texture in the middle adds a ton of grip, and it just feels fantastic. Then, of course, at the back, it kind of curves out and flattens out, and then you have a lanyard hole and some jimping back here if you want to do a reverse grip. Now, it's almost a full enclosed back. You just have that quarter of it open. But the cool thing, and I don't have a light, or actually I do. Hold on, we'll see if this works. If you can see inside, I know this is going to be hard. The nice thing that helps cut down on the weight too with this knife, besides having plastic Grivory handles, is that it has like a full length liner across the one side, and then on the other side of the knife it only has about a third liner. So instead of putting full length liners on both sides and having to mill them out, they just did one full length liner that tapers on the one side, the lock side, and then the other side they just do about a third of a liner. So that actually saves a lot of weight, and which I thought is just brilliant. And I don't feel any weaknesses whatsoever within the handle of the knife because it is missing full liners. So I would never have noticed if I wouldn't have looked. So that being said, looking at the actual hardware, all the hardware on the knife and the liners are black, painted or anodized, can't really tell. And then it has, of course, the button, which is highlighted or as just a satin finish. It is kind of a stepped button, so you do get some traction on there, so you won't lose your grip when you're actually trying to deploy the knife. The other thing that's really nice is that it has a lock. Now, I reviewed a knife earlier that wasn't so great, but it had a lock, and that's a really nice feature, especially for some of you that are new to push button autos. You're worried about it going off in pocket, and that's a fair worry. I mean, it's okay to be concerned that way. I'm personally concerned that way. I don't really like autos, but this one I'm extra happy that it has a lock. Now, the other nice thing is that the lock has some awesome grip to it when pushing in either direction, so your thumb really locks into that, and you for sure can unlock it and then of course deploy it. You push it to deploy, you push it to close as well, and you can lock it open, which is nice too if you're gonna do a little bit more difficult or robust tasks with it. You'll have that as a backup, but pretty sweet plunge lock. The other nice thing is that the liners do become exposed at the top and provide jimping right here on the thumb. So then it really locks your thumb in there with the jimping in the front finger choil there. So excellent job. Just love it. Finally, the pocket clip is a deep carry. It's kind of a gray painted pocket clip. Has the Benchmade label on it there. and it is a deep carry, so it folds over, and you just have these 2 screws bolting it in. And it is a little bit longer than I would have thought, but that just keeps it in better. It's not gonna pull out, and when you do have to pull it out, you have to pull it straight out, so you can't pull at a weird angle, which really prevents it from slipping out on accident. The only thing I'd say is that if they did have a pocket clip, I wish they would have put a smooth spot in that texturing just where the pocket clip rests. But then again, this is based off a tactical design, so they want it to stay in pocket for sure and not have any accidental. They don't want it to accidentally fall out. So, man, I could just keep talking about this knife. I absolutely love it. The S30V blade steel came razor sharp. I stropped it up the other night and sharpened it even more, and this thing is just awesome. Love it. So excellent. So it cuts really well. That flat grind is just gorgeous. So let's compare it to some other knives. I'll line this up right here with the 13. I have the, of course, Byrd Raven 2, which I love. Actually, I'll line that the top of the handle up with the 10 here. Sypderco Paramilitary 2. Kershaw Blur. This is a big one. That's the Benchmade APB. And then the only other auto I have right now that I'll be doing a review on is the Boker Kalashnikov. Okay, so as you can see, blade length is just under 3.5 inches here, which is more than a fair sized knife for EDC. You know, I like to carry something 3 inches and under. 3.5 usually is pushing it, but because of the weight, and usually because the longer the blade, the more the knife weighs. But because it's under that 3.5 or 3.5 ounce mark, you know, that's not super huge. And it is comparable to a medium to larger EDC blade. Obviously, the APB is the longest with like a 3.5 inch, 3.75 blade, and the Kalashnikov is similar. Handle length wise, it's not the longest. The APB and the Sypderco Paramilitary 2 have the longest handle. So there you go. So let's compare blade thickness. So right there with the Paramilitary 2, the PM2 is obviously thicker, but you know, that's that. Handle wise, it's fairly similar, but I think the Casbah is just a little bit thicker in the handle. The Byrd Raven 2, absolutely love this knife. A big chunk of BD1 blade steel, definitely thicker than the Benchmade Casbah. Handle wise, I'd say they're fairly similar, but the Casbah might be a hair thicker there. Similar, definitely similar. CTS BDZ1 on the Kershaw Blur. Handle wise, I think the Casbah is about the same, if not just a hair thicker in the handle. We'll go to this one. This is hard to tell, but it looks about the same width in the blade thickness, and then the handle thickness, it looks about the same, but with these ridges that raise up in the Boker Kalashnikov, I'd say the Kalashnikov is thicker in the handle, and then of course the APB blade thickness might be slightly thicker than the Casbah. Handle is bigger, and definitely a huge noticeable weight difference in that knife. So that being said, like I said, compared to other push buttons, I like the fact that there is a lock, because you don't want this accidentally going off. It has a solid snap, and it just locks in place. The blade play, there's no blade play. Just wonderful, centered, and it has a slimmer profile, so it's much more tall. It slips right into pocket, so there's no bulges compared to some other knives that like bulge out and have a wider profile. It's actually much slimmer and just straight and solid, which I really, really like. So that being said, we got one last test, and that is the ugly brown glove test. Sorry this is so long, but there's a lot to say about this knife that I really like. So here we are. The grip on it is just excellent. Definitely locks this bulky glove in place all over. I feel traction on the actual push button, and I can lock. The lock is super easy with this. There's no denying that it's there and that you're having a positive grip. Shoots out, grip in hand, excellent. The underside jimping is really good, as well as a thumb that's locked in there. Feels really good. Once again I can lock it and then close it. Even do it one-handed close. Super awesome. So does it pass? Heck yeah. Say that's one of the better knives that actually passes the ugly brown glove test. I give that like a 90% on the ugly brown, maybe even 95. I'll be generous, 95. So there you have it, folks. This is the Benchmade Casbah. Absolutely awesome knife, awesome EDC. This is going to be a huge hit for 2017 for Benchmade. Definitely pick this up. It's under $150, I believe, or around 150 at the time of this video. S30V blade steel, Benchmade, warranty, and just feels good. Two, because it locks, I did some batoning with it. I don't know if I'll put that a little bit earlier in the video or not, but I'll definitely include that in here. So you can just pop it open, and it's just solid. This would be a great wilderness knife, just with the flat grind and everything else in it. Would be just excellent for around the camp and hiking because of the weight. There's so many, great utility aspects to this knife that I think this will meet the needs of many people in a wide range of varieties of activities and uses. So thank you, Benchmade, so much. That being said, thank you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm sorry the video is so long. Maybe I'll try to cut some stuff out. But like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you outside. Thank you.